Welcome to this edition of Times Techies Friday Plus Plus. I'm Sujit John, and I have with me my colleague Shilpa Fatnis. The two of us will moderate this discussion. We hope you and your families are staying safe and doing well. Our discussion today is on changing the game with data, and we are having this in association with HPE Enterprise and Ingram Micro. Data is at the heart of everything. Extracting business value from data is the key to a successful enterprise digital transformation strategy. Your business collects, processes, and stores mountains of data every day. Buried within that data are insights that empower your organization to reach new customers, develop and deliver new products, operate more efficiently and more effectively, and develop new business models. But data needs to be refined and accessed when and where it's needed, from the edge to the cloud. How can we best unlock the value of data? To discuss that, we have with us four seasoned professionals. We have with us Kamal Kashyap. Kamal is director for the storage business unit in Hewlett-Packard Enterprise India. The storage group includes primary storage, all-flash and hybrid storage, collaborative platforms, big data storage, and hyperconverged infrastructure solutions. Kamal joined HPE in 2000 and has since served in various roles in enterprise sales, including as country manager for key accounts and SME. Prior to leading storage, Kamal served as the director for public sector in HPE India. Welcome, Kamal.
Thank you, sir.
We have Ashwin Khurana. Ashwin is Chief Information Officer at Ujjivan Small Finance Bank. Ashwin has been a technology banker for 29 years, with stints in Standard Chartered Bank, Bank Dofer, ING Vaishya Bank, and Jana Small Finance Bank. He covered technology management and delivery across retail, wholesale, and digital initiatives. Over the last 12 months, Ashwin has been a part of the advisory board of an IT company and has been active in the startup ecosystem as an advisor, mentor, and investor. Welcome, Ashwin.
Hi. Thank you.
Yeah, we have Navdeep Narula. Navdeep is Executive Director for Mobility and Compute at Ingram Micro India. Ingram Micro is one of the largest technology distribution companies in the world, and he holds P&L responsibilities for a business size of close to $2 billion per annum. Navdeep has more than 25 years of experience. Before moving to Ingram Micro in 2013, he was Vice President at Reliance Digital Retail. Prior to that, he spent 7 years at Hewlett-Packard India handling national assignments. Welcome, Navdeep.
Thank you, Shilpa. Happy to be here.
Thank you. We have Nawat Afzal Chowdhury. He's the head of marketing at Ingram Micro India. Prior to joining Ingram in 2012, he worked with brands like Luminous, DS Group, Hamdard, and Intex. Nawat has experience over 20 years spanning multiple assignments in marketing, communication, and brand management. He has expertise in launching new products and worked extensively in the areas of brand management, retail, channel marketing over many years. Welcome, Nawat.
Hi.
Those of you who in this can send in questions through the comment box. Sujit and I will put them to the panelists. Kamal, coming to you first, with the rapid adoption of digital transformation, enterprises are witnessing exponential growth in data, which is in turn choking infrastructure. How do you think companies can handle the sudden surge in data effectively?
Hey, thanks, Shilpa. And first of all, good evening, everyone who's kind of listening and watching to this out there. And thanks, Times Techies, for organizing this and having me and my colleagues from Ingram on the panel along with Mr. Ashwin. So good evening, everyone. A very, very pertinent question, Shilpa. And these days, every organization that I talk to is just trying to move faster to unlock innovation. They're trying to get ahead and kind of ultimately disrupt the status quo. And the data is the fuel that powers better and faster decisions, the kind that are needed to supercharge any business. But the question that every organization is asking is how best to harness data and manage infrastructure when it's distributed across edge to core to cloud. You know, according to IDC, 75 zettabytes of data will be created, captured, copied, and consumed in 2021. And out of this, only about 10% is expected to be newly created and captured, which is increasingly in real time, for example, geolocation data and so on and so forth, and in an unstructured format like video streams and the edge like IoT sensors. The remaining 90% is replicated or recursively processed data to support growing consumer needs for complex analytical models. It could be AI, ML, it could be data protection, like the data localization laws that we have, GDPR, and so on and so forth, or to manage the application-specific needs across environments and runtimes. Now, what is done is that these trends have made the storage and data management complex for IT administrators, for developers, for data scientists across the areas of data protection, storage orchestration, data lifecycle management, orchestration for operations and analytics. And when you look at any organization, now they kind of whether they're mid-sized, small, or very, very large enterprises, they're struggling with this complexity because the data is exploding everywhere. And we talked about it's growing at the edge, it's growing again in the core transactional systems, as well as now they have an experience on the cloud, and they have to manage the span of this data across and make it available internally, as well as manage it efficiently and also keep it secure. Now, all this has changed everything for how you store the data in a IT infrastructure of storage. However, the complexity around storage has not come down. There are obviously regular gains that we get from Moore's law, the flash, the NVMe, the storage architectures, but they're still very admin driven. The experience to manage the complexity of LUNs and RAID groups and HBAs, load balancing, et cetera, is taking away a whole lot of time. And so we think that the storage complexity is a roadblock to innovation, and the customers must reimagine the experience. And at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, that is exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring the cloud operational experience to our customers to their on-prem environment. Any organization who's kind of had an experience around cloud, they love the operational experience. It's kind of easy, intuitive, and stuff like that. However, most of the organizations still have and will continue to have a whole lot of critical infrastructure, which because of regulatory compliance requirements, their own policies, compliances and concerns around security of data, the data privacy, and so on and so forth, will continue to remain on-prem or in a hybrid structure. And hence, what we're trying to do is to bring in this simplicity of how you actually have a cloud operational experience to the on-prem infrastructure. So now you have the best of both worlds. And this is what we call as our visionary approach of unified data ops, where you actually bring in the experience of doing it in a much more simplified fashion. You're able to manage at scale. You can manage multiple of arrays or multiple of infrastructure, which is spanning across from edge to core to cloud, as simply as you would manage one, right? And that is the experience that you bring in onto their on-prem environment. Now, imagine an organization where IT managers can deploy services instead of trying to maintain the infrastructure, and hence allowing data innovators to have instant and secure access to data for faster time to market, for time to insights, and where the data managers automatically protect their data for any SLA, wherever the data lives, where IT executives have complete visibility into their data edge to cloud, and all through a unified, streamlined experience. And this is what unified data ops as a vision and as a solution brings to the customers. Now, this is delivered to the customer through a very unique data services platform architecture. And this platform tries to connect applications to infrastructure, innovators to data, and allows administrator to automate the policies in a very unified cloud experience wherever the data lives. Now, this platform includes a suite of innovations unveiled that are fundamentally changing the landscape of storage and data management. And this is manifested through a very, very unique proposition that we call as Data Services Cloud Console. It allows customers to do a whole lot of stuff in terms of operationally simplifying their experience and allowing them to harness the power of this data, which is spanning across the organization. They can do things like fleet management, instant deployments, insight-based provisioning, where you are actually just giving the system the parameters around SLA, performance, utilization that you have, and the system automatically using a suite of AI ops tools is able to deploy this across. And that, actually gives the power to the customers to be able to make available the power of this data, allowing them to harness it across the internal users as well as their external environment.
So unified management, automation, simplicity, we'll go deeper into that a little later. But before that, and before I come to Ingram Micro, Ashwin, you want to talk about the kind of infrastructure that you use? You've been now with G1 for some time. You were earlier with Jana Finance Bank. What kind of infrastructures have you found useful?
And I'll start off with what Kamal said. The future is data driven. I mean, data is the new oil, right? And since the time I started working in the tech industry, when we received the first machine with 20 MB of data, we felt, are we going to consume this entire disk? And today we talk about around 200 GB of data getting generated every day for us to consume and see how we can be using the insights that come our way to use the data in such a way that helps us do right lending, that helps us do right cross-sell in the organization, which saves a ton of money into acquisitions and things of those sort that we would normally do through different means of communication with the customer to become customer of the bank. So yes, data has grown leaps and bounds in terms of its creation and consumption from what we have seen, I would say, in the near past to current. So how data was being used 4 years back versus how data is being used today there's a lot of difference. There is a lot of new methods that have come into play to see how we look at trends, how we analyze each scenario that we want to get into. And obviously, to do all this, we need to have an infrastructure in place which will be able to provide us the data at the speed at which we need. Because gone are the days where you would wait for 15 days for monthly reports to come out from your data warehouse. We expect now the reports to be available to us at that moment, at that time. Maybe latest is next morning, and that is called a delay today. So technology is data technology is one, or storage technology, I would say, is one which is helping us achieve those targets. We are no longer classifying data on the basis of its use, where we say data that is being used on a daily basis needs to be on faster disk, and data that needs to be at rest needs to be on slower disk. I think that era has gone away.
That's gone, is it?
That's gone, yeah. So now what we look at is data being completely available at the same speed wherever you want to retrieve it.
Okay.
Because what you're relying on is insights. What you're relying on is trends.
So you need all that historical data.
Past history, exactly. So as banks, have we tread into the cloud to maximize our data acquisition and usage? I think in banks, it is in baby steps at the moment. There may be some banks who may have got the whole hog, but not everybody. So if I look at the small finance bank category, then everybody is still hosting data in their own on-prem data centers. So what Kamal mentioned about providing a cloud-like environment within an on-prem data center is interesting to hear. It's something that we would see how we maximize its use of it. Is how much elasticity is available, how fast we can achieve the growth or increase in capacity when it is required at that moment. So it's just in time kind of a thing. So it is, yeah, data harnessing is extremely important for the banks, and it's an understood thing. It's not new. Everybody is using it. Especially the small finance bank and the NBFCs will lend into a space which is actually unbanked, as I would say. So you don't really find too much of data available on the customers. So you build on the basis of theories and you arrive at decisions which will help the bank ensure that whatever loans are being given, whatever lending is being done is of good quality.
So you need to create those data and find data from wherever sources as possible. Okay. I will come back to more of that. Navdeep, tell us, I mean, this Ashwin also talked about the recognition that, data has become so valuable. You see that across the board amongst your customers and all that, this whole culture shift, you see a lot more data awareness and usage.
Thank you, Sujit. Again, happy to be here. And great stuff by Kamal and Ashwin. Taking a leaf from what Ashwin mentioned, data being the new oil, I dare say that data is the new business oxygen. It's just, you can keep coining new terms for data's importance. You can just, keep doing that. I think data awareness has come a long way. We used to have a simple decision support systems a couple of decades ago. We're now talking automated analytics with the support of robotics, sensors, AI, deep learning. The focus has shifted from retrospective to prospective very, very clearly. And the journey has seen, various phases of, being data driven to data informed, and now, as you know, data inspired. In this era of digital transformation, I don't think we have a choice but to quickly shift gears. Used to have descriptive, then diagnostic, now you have predictive, and then prescriptive analytics. So that is a journey we are seeing very clearly, and the organizations that make this move at the earliest clearly will be the front runners in the future. Also, the trend, these trends are very clearly visible across various sectors of the industry as businesses begin to exploit the gold mine of data more and more. Just as an illustration, in my own organization, we have seen these various stages practically over the years, starting with individual analysis of data, ERP data on Excel, moving to BI-driven insights on visualization tools like MicroStrategy and ClickView, etc. And now, predictive BI recommendations and insight with, maybe tools like Python. So I think it's a great and very interesting journey, Sujit.
Okay. And across customers, across industries and all that, big changes
Absolutely.
happening. Which are the industries which are foremost in this?
I think this is the industry that Ashwin comes from. That is
okay, finances.
Absolutely. I think this is where we see the highest amount of action.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now, coming to you, how important is data-driven approach with respect to marketing, especially when organizations are working towards a digital-first approach?
Navid, you're muted, huh?
You're muted, Navid.
Sorry. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks, Shilpa. Gone are the days when we used to spend a lot of marketing dollars on the exercises of various marketing campaigns. Now everything is moving towards an ROI-based marketing, and we need to have qualified leads. That's one of the strongest area on which we have to work. So what's happening is, if we have got a huge pool of data, what's happening is we have better connect with our customers now. We can predict the need. We know the desires and behaviors of customers.
Now it's breaking.
Which helps in the long run in designing the solutions or maybe even the products for them. So what's happening is we have got, no, I can hear you very loud and clear. Is it okay? Can you hear me now?
There was an issue.
A couple of seconds back, there was a drag.
Some network issue. Yeah. So what's happening is we have got riding on a huge amount of data, which helps us in designing the products and solutions and better decision making also. Which helps understand our customers better. In order to design a campaigns, you're always looking for a better target audience and TG, so that to design the campaigns to be more effective. So overall understanding of the BI tools which we work and the data we analyze, we design campaigns in a way that becomes more and more effective. Like for example, marketing campaign is driven on certain media vehicles. If we understand our customer need better, we can see which media vehicle need better utilization because it is driven by a cost. If a customer resides in tier 2 towns for that matter, a particular medium may not be that effective and may be very costly also. So we will be looking at an alternate medium, which gives better cost effectiveness. So media utilization is one very, very important area, which is data is helping us to analyze whether to go which route and which route is not effective. then tailoring the communication which may have with the customer especially on the digital front. So we can make effective campaigns through the different products, through retargeting and remarketing to the different consumers. Then the most important point is personalizing the experience. If a particular customer is looking at a particular solution, we can customize that and go back to them. That's all driven by the BI tools we use and the data we have. So continuously monitoring the data, extracting certain key pointers out of that, and deriving the entire marketing campaigns, whether it's solutions or the products. Then we can define different segments also, and we can go out to those segments. So that's the advantages of the data. And promotions, whether hardcore marketing or ATL, BTL, everything is getting driven by that. And almost I have seen in the past couple of years, 30 to 40% of the budget goes only for lead generation. And that's the need of the hour. We need to have leads to drive the business. And once the leads are driving the business, the overall the marketing expenditure increases. So that's how the entire ecosystem for marketing is changing because of just sheer utilization of the data.
Clear metrics for ROI, I mean, improvement in ROI and all that?
Yeah, ROI is a very important metric, but at times, there is a...
Navid, you are breaking. Navid, there is some problem with your connection.
Everything goes in waste, but which 50% that I don't know. Right? So you have to just, yeah, seems like, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Yeah.
But lot of what you said just now.
We need to get a bigger data pipe,
So
I was just going to say this is what happens with too much data.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, so advertising and being present is required. But as I said, 30% of these investments are going to better ROIs and lead gen is where the investments are happening because you need to be a part of the entire ecosystem to drive the business. Okay. So that's the major change which has happened in the last couple of years.
Okay. Kamal, you mentioned, obviously everybody is now talking hybrid cloud, but along with hybrid cloud, everybody is also talking security. Data is moving from on-prem to cloud and multiple clouds and all of that, from core to edge to cloud. Or in that context, how do you provide comfort to somebody like Ashwin that if he were to adopt a cloud model, more of cloud and all that, he can be secure?
Oh, wonderful question, I guess. And it kind of actually ties back to something that Ashwin was mentioning during the course of his response about the fact that data suddenly become so critical, right? It was always critical, but now you have a sprawl and you got to make everything work with each other. You're supposed to harness this data, but also keep it secure. Harnessing also means that you kind of start sharing things across. You open a lot of fronts for customer interaction, for vendor interaction, for partner interaction, stuff like that. And all this is, of course, happening at the edge where, the data is moving back and forth. But you got to do all this, and you got to make sure that you're able to make it available to the data scientists internally, maybe externally, while keeping it secure. He also mentioned a very pertinent point about retrieval, right? So gone are the days when you could start a end of the day backup operation or end of week or end of month, let it run for a while, and then kind of sleep peacefully for the next few days. And stuff like that. And when you were asked to retrieve, you had an SLA which could be hours or days to kind of retrieve the data. Today, that's not possible. A lot of compliance requirements, as well as, more importantly, a lot of business requirements need you to make the data available that is required, even if it was relating to a transaction a few months or a few years back, as quickly as possible. And sometimes there are frameworks which are attached to it. Now, hence, there are two parts of the story. One, what we talked about in terms of the unified data ops vision and in terms of bringing the whole cloud operational experience. And that also means that this whole infrastructure on-prem that we're creating, which has this whole cloud management layer, is allowing you the peace of mind that everything is secure. And we obviously will not get into deep technical discussion on the security here, but the way we do the communication, the way we do the ports, and the way the system communicates, is all extremely secure, right? We follow all the right protocols. We make sure that the compliances of not which are applicable in, let's say, North America or worldwide are kept, but also certain communication guidelines. For example, RBI has certain guidelines in terms of the data communication that are also being met by the infrastructure that we provide and provision. On top of it, just from an availability perspective, our two flagship product ranges, Elytra 9000, 6000, come with 100% availability and a 6.9 availability guarantee, respectively, which gives the whole organization a comfort in terms of the fact that their data is going to be available no matter what. Third, on top of it, the threats that you see in the ecosystem, and I'm sure at some point of time somebody's going to bring up ransomware, somebody's going to bring up the whole disaster management from a data perspective, and that's where we come in with a software platform that allows customers to deploy a disaster recovery solution irrespective of where their data is. Now, their data could be edge, core, and cloud, or something could be hybrid, but the ability of this platform to actually do it across and do it in a continuous fashion. So what we call as continuous data protection, which means that you're not going to be dependent on the time that you took the last backup. So you're not going to, if a disaster strikes at, let's say, 6 a.m, and it could be a natural one, or it could be a ransomware attack, or it could be any of those mechanisms, it happens at 6 o'clock, you're not going to be needing to go back to the backup that you took at midnight. You can start from, pick up your point from as close as 5:59, 45, right? And that gives you a huge ability, one, in terms of being, squeezing down your RTOs and RPOs to the minimum. Second, the granularity is amazing for the ransomware mitigation, for security forensics, and for a number of other security related use cases that the customers are leveraging this Zerto platform for.
Okay. Yeah. Ashwin, how much comfort does that give you? Cloud, you are still, public cloud at least, you don't use that much as of now, right?
Yes, we don't. I will put it this way. I'll give you an example. There was a time when there was this integration time going on between ING and Kotak, and I was part of ING. And on the last day of the integration, I put a request for a statement from the day I opened my account in ING to that day of integration, so that I had all the transactions with me at one place. It happened in a jiffy. I think in 5 minutes, the statement was in my mailbox. Now, it is also scary. All that data is available on the storage device. And if that storage device gets hacked, you can just imagine what kind of data is going to get out into the market. So banks are extremely cautious about this whole thing of customer data being stored for easy retrieval and making life easy for the customer. We need to be extremely careful that the data is secure. So if you ask me one thing, how do we, what will make us feel comfortable? What will make us feel comfortable is how our data is secured at rest. And that's one of the most critical aspects. In motion, we encrypt it. While creation, we are careful about masking it. But where carelessness starts to creep in is when the data is at rest. When it may not be used every day, but it will be used at some point of time, and data needs to be available, correct, without any discrepancy. What do we look for from the industry? So when we started off storing huge amount of data, we started what we call data mirroring, so that the data loss is not there if one disk fails. And then came the various other methods of ensuring that data loss is to the minimum. And as Kamal pointed out, yes, today we can say that the RPO is within 5 minutes of the failure. So that's where we have reached in terms of data availability and usage. But is there a way where, without impacting on performance and reliability. We can the storage space creates a method to ensure that your data in rest is also secure. It will not be easily hacked into unless you are allowed to read the data, unless you're allowed to access the data. So that will be a very big game changer, if you ask me, whether it's on the cloud or whether it's on-prem. If we are able to confirm that your data on rest is in a safe place and secured, right? It's about not me investing to make it secure. It's about when I buy a product that comes with security in place for that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Want to add something, Kamal?
No, I was just echoing Mr. Ashwin's point, because look at him as a CIO. He's concerned about every facet of data, right? Not just when it is kind of moving around. He knows that they're gonna secure it, and they have tools for it. But also when it is at rest, also when it is kind of being used from a transactional perspective, and that's where I was talking about the software platform that gives you a peace of mind in terms of your whole disaster recovery capabilities, irrespective of where the threat is coming from. Because these days the threat is possible from multiple directions, right? And hence, to kind of give him the peace of mind, that's the kind of infrastructure that we talk about.
Okay.
Coming to you, Ingram is a global leader providing technology solutions to its customers. So how are you enabling your customers and channel fraternity to maximize the power of data?
Yeah. So, I mean, we are at Ingram, we have a very strong channel philosophy. We work very closely with our channel partners to serve our customers. We talk to them, we listen to them. We have a very strong experience in our portal, which is the IAM online portal, which is an end-to-end service tool for all the technology needs. And then the cross-product leverage across millions of technology products via the BI tool gives our partners and customers flexibility to create bundles and really configure a complete solution. We work, really on this topic that we're discussing today. We work very closely with HPE in their offering their edge to cloud portfolio, which comprises of server, storage, networking, point next services, and the security, which kind of which amounts to an end-to-end data management and analytics capabilities solution. Along with that, there is a CapEx model from HPE called GreenLake, which is an annuity model, consumption model, where the customers can opt for a pay-per-use model. And this is something that is the new new trend. It is conversion of CapEx into OpEx. It is something that the CFO loves. It brings in a huge amount of scalability and flexibility. In addition, we also have, our own Ingram Micro Financial Services, which give a lot of structuring of, financial needs for both our partners and customers.
Okay. Now with you mentioned all the marketing efforts. In terms of tools and approaches and all that, what are the ones that you use?
So we strongly use the tool internally we have, which is the Power BI. We use the purchase behavior, their online presence, and other data points which we use to drive our marketing campaigns. So normally use certain years of data available with us through different product lines. As you know, we work on extensive product lines in tune of 100 plus. Which are different vendors, and then within that you got different product lines. So for any product to be launched, we know certain history behind it, the kind of purchase behaviors we have, the presence in different parts of India and their online presence, how they behave to different campaigns. That data also resides with us for the campaigns which might have been done. So those sort of things are being used. Then apart from that, we do a very strong tool, which is customer value analytics, which we run at marketing. So we know certain set of customers, what kind of buying they are doing and what are their buying behaviors. Are they intermittent or continuous, or they're buying one time a year or 2 times a year, or it is every week. So all those behaviors and certain data throw us certain numbers to us. Basis that we define and design our campaigns and our reach out marketing plans to them. A particular set of partners may be needing a particular reach out plan, which may be a collation of different type of programs which we have under marketing kitty. But certain partners may be needing just one or two kind of a program, which are very cost effective also. So that entire data stream running around business intelligence and value chain mechanism. These two tools really helps us drive the entire campaign, though it needs a bit of a time before we implement anything, but it's the time investing and helps us getting more momentum, getting better ROIs, and the entire campaigns becomes very, very effective.
Okay. Navdeep, the one that you're talking about earlier, when you were, is that also the Green Lake option that HPE has? I know we had a couple of discussions earlier also on this.
Yes, I think, I'm sure Kamal would love to jump in as well. But yeah, let me take the lead here. I think Green Lake is a very exciting, consumption model, which really enables, it really helps enablement of technology deployment, with our customers, in the sense that, not only it allows for very friendly and flexible financial modeling, it also allows for a lot of scalability, with the uncertainties of the business dynamics these days. You will have a lot of need for scale up and scale down, and so this is something that really allows for that. And I think and also you see not only in the IT domain, you see as a service really picking up, the capex to opex. That shift you see happening across consumer, applications, enterprise applications. So I think this is an eventuality, and HP has been the front runner. They were the first ones to identify this opportunity, first one to launch it globally, and it's been accepted really, really well. I'm sure Kamal would like to add.
Yeah, if I may.
Yeah, please.
With Sujit's permission, thanks. Thanks for bringing it up, Navdeep. And I think Green Lake is a revolutionary model, and the edge that we have as HPE is that we're kind of practicing on this. And our CEO had laid out a vision that by 2023, everything that we do will be available as a service, right? So all across our IP, our product solutions, and we are well on the path to do that. And it just brings me back to the point that I was making earlier at the beginning of the conversation, that the two aspects from a cloud experience that people want on their for their on-prem infrastructure. They need the apps and workloads and the data on-prem for various reasons. It could be security, comfort, compliance, regulation, convenience, cost, because sometimes it's much, much more cost effective to kind of keep it on-prem. However, they want to have the operational experience, which is to kind of have the simplicity of management, especially when you're managing multiple devices. When you talk to Mr. Ashwin, while the core banking started with a small island in a bank, it slowly kind of spread across to include a whole lot of additional functions of the bank, and not just the business functions, but slowly the HR, the administration, security, everything else, right? So everything that an organization does gets added onto the core, and there is a sprawl around that. And so one is the whole operational experience. Can I kind of click a few buttons like we're used to doing on our phone, on our apps, and get the results that I want? The complexity of IT is left to the IT professionals, but from a business perspective, can I do that? And the economic model of the cloud. So can I, as Navdeep was saying, pay as I use? Can I grow the infrastructure seamlessly as I'm growing? And can I account for the crests and troughs that I will see in the natural course of my business? There will be seasonality, there will be ups and downs. And so do I need to keep a capacity of 100 when I know that I hit 100 only 3 days a month, or I hit 100 only 3 months a year, or 9, even 7, 8, 9 months a year? So that's the thing. So can I have a buffer capacity which will manage? Can I be charged, instead of being charged on the overall storage that I buy, can I be charged only per terabyte, for example? Can I be charged per virtual machine? Can I be charged in so many other ways, right? And all those models, depending on the customer business environment and the business requirement, are available under the GreenLake umbrella. And Ingram has been a great partner for us in terms of value-added engagement across this whole value chain with our customers. And we have several hundreds and thousands of customers across the globe and India who kind of actually leveraging this in very, very large organizations where they're loving the IT operational experience that they get out of that. It's very, very simplified, and the economic experience that they get. And what I was talking about from a storage perspective is our effort to actually enable every piece of the technology that we do, that we're so great at, in terms of dovetailing into this whole GreenLake umbrella or the vision of ours. So a storage, you could kind of actually subscribe for certain services on top of the infrastructure that you have already done. So you might want to click and say, can I avail of backup as a service, or can I avail of file as a service, or block as a service, and so on and so forth. So that gives the customer great ability as well as flexibility, and all available at very, very simplified operational experience. Thanks.
Ashwin, what do you think of that model? I mean, at one level, it looks like great for companies like yours. I mean, you're converting CapEx into OpEx. It provides the same agility as a regular public cloud. Ashwin?
Ashwin, yeah.
Ashwin, did you hear me?
Is it only with me or the lady from...
Yeah, there's some problem in your... Yeah, it's okay. I think it's okay now. Yeah. Ashwin, I was asking you, what did you think of... What do you think of this kind of a model where you can convert CapEx into OpEx? And I mean, it's still on-prem. It still provides the agility of the public cloud in some ways. What is your sense? Ashwin's connection also.
Okay, I wasn't able to hear half of the things you said. Sujit, able to hear me? So I'll start with the first question and then I'll ask you to add the answer to the first question.
Yeah. Sorry, you heard me? Ashwin?
I think his screen has frozen.
Yes, I could hear the last question. Can you hear? So
No. We were asking you what you thought of this model, which kind of allows you to make CapEx into OpEx, gives you the agility of a public cloud. What do you think of that?
See, I'll put an answer to this as a pure banker. For me, the cost of the transaction in a secure manner is something which is very important. And if by using the right set of technologies, we are able to maintain the cost to what we think is the right cost of the transaction, then that's the way to move ahead, right? I mean, you will all appreciate that bank is probably the only institution globally which takes money for you, keeps it securely for you, and then gives it back to you also. And we do that all in an automated manner. So you can actually have this journey without coming in contact with anybody in the bank. No other business gives you money back that they've taken from you without you putting up a fight. So, so when I look at it, I like the Apple model of creating a phone. They are probably using thousands of patents in that device, but you look at the cost of the patent for each device that they pay to the person who's holding the patent. So the mass is helping every patent holder to make money from that device, but it's not really the unit cost which is something which is driving the profit for the patent holder. So I think we need to look at some sort of the same line or methods to see how does mass make the revenues grow for the IT company with regards to its usage, and help us remain secure. So we as bankers want to be bankers. We don't want to be technologists writing encryption technologies and things of those sort. We want to use the good technologies available in the market for us to make the experience good for us, the customer, and the regulators. So as long as that is in the thought process of creating new things coming our way, then it will make things simple. So as I say, it should be simple, it should be secure, and it should be steady. So these three things, three S's, are extremely important in anything new that comes our way.
Okay. Kamal, Navdeep, anybody wants to respond?
I think that was an amazing thought what Mr. Ashwin said, right? The way we interact with banks, right? You don't need really to go across physically. I haven't seen my bank physically ever, and you're able to avail of all the services that the bank has to offer. And they made it so seamless, so refreshing, and so service oriented, and a whole lot of stuff that I talked about is kind of aligned towards that. Where a customer who has, let's say, for example, a data services cloud console and HPE Electra on-prem wants to subscribe to additional services, wants to just test them out, or in a Green Lake model, they just want some more piece of infrastructure for testing. They could actually do it at the click of a button without getting into this whole lengthy process of discussion, sizing, solutioning. Same way, what we have included in our data services cloud console, something called as intent-based provisioning. So you just lay out the intent of the workload. You say, this is the SLA I want, this is the performance I want, this is the availability, or this is the cost per transaction that I want. And the system, because it's an AI-driven system, will analyze the entire underlying infrastructure and allocate the resources, assign the LUN, do the volume and all that stuff, which typically takes organizations anywhere between 2 days to a week to actually plan out in terms of their infrastructure in a matter of minutes, right? And that's what the industry is evolving from. And I'm sure I'm going to quote Mr. Ashwin in a few places with his permission. And this is the last one on a lighter note, sir. We take money, but we deliver value back to you.
My end customer should also be thinking like that, right? He shouldn't be saying you're overcharging me for the services.
No, I agree with you completely. It has to be commercially, economically viable, and that's what we try and do with the model that I talked about.
See, whatever is there in technology is because of the innovations that have come our way, right? Otherwise, we would still have been working on a novel network server in a decentralized form doing banking transactions. So obviously, there's a big contribution from the tech industry to make sure that the life of customer has become as simple as what it is today. And I'm glad that banks didn't stop at ATM that they implemented in the early 80s or 90s. And they moved on to do much more because technology was available to them.
Sujit, with your permission, and also to take, have a take on what Ashwin said. We seem to love what he's saying. On his Apple example, I think the Apple model is great, and it's only incidental. They are able to have a $300 billion of cash reserves, which works for them. At the same time, just to support, what Kamal and I have been saying, you no longer buy titles, you Netflix. You no longer buy a car, you Uber. You no longer buy a holiday home, you Airbnb it. So I think this, the trends are for everyone to see, and I think this is something which is there on the wall. So just to correlate.
Yeah.
True.
Ashwin, basic question here from Sahadev and Vijayan from the audience asking, what does the often heard phrase, data is the new oil, mean for the banking industry?
Yeah, I'll put it this way, that let's say 5 years or 7 years ago, if we had to arrive at deciding whether we should be giving a loan to the unbanked individual or SME or not, would have been purely on gut feel. Today, if you have the data, you can do the analysis and you can decide whether this customer, either as a repeat or a new customer, is going to be good for you or not. So to give you an example, I give a loan to an unbanked individual and my collector goes every month to collect the loan from the individual. If the individual is available to pay the installment, then the credit rating of the individual goes up. Right? Because we have been able to physically interact with the individual 70% of the time we have tried to reach him. So it tells a lot. It tells that yes, his residence is the residence where the person is staying. He's committed to meet at the times he gives to meet you. And we will enhance the credit rating over what we get from the credit rating agencies. So that's one of the examples, right? That's how data is used to identify and do quality lending to the unbanked.
Where do you get the initial data from, Ashwin?
We collect the data, right? When I go to do the initial data can be through a psychometric analysis. So you will have agencies who will talk to the individual and find out whether the individual is really, one is in need of money. Second is, has the intention to pay back the money, right? So there are various methods that each of these organizations employ. One of them is a psychometric analysis. Second may be a questionnaire which you ask people to answer, and on the basis of that, you start to score. But after that first journey, you start to use data to determine whether the decision taken at the first journey was, initiating journey was right. And second is, how can we now improve the credit worthiness of that customer with regards to what data we have. Okay. Similarly, if we look at the spend analysis pattern of a customer holding a savings account with us, then we start to see that the value in the saving account is growing. Can we suggest products which will help him, get better returns for the money that he has kept in the bank? Some customers are open to taking a little bit of risk. Some will say no risk. Then the analysis happens on the basis of that with regards to what we need to do for the customer. So that is how data is getting used. It is helping us deepening the customer relationships. It is helping improve customer retention. Because why will the customer go away if he's happy with the services being accorded to him? So that's how we say that data is the new oil. And if you are, I think, you should not use bad data to make decision. In that case, gut feel is better. But if you have good data, please make use of it, because it will definitely help you get the benefits or monetize the data that you're holding for your own business to grow.
Also in areas like security and compliance and all that, I get you.
Yes. So frauds. I mean, if you are my customer and you have not done, you normally do a transaction twice every month, and I suddenly start to see a velocity of transactions coming my way, I will have alerts and triggers come my way and will call the customer and say, we are seeing this happening into your account. Has it by any chance, have you shared the password? Is there something that has gone wrong? So those kind of alerts are again because of the data that we are holding. If we don't hold the data, we wouldn't know your frequency of transactions. And that's in a very simple way. There are more complex things we do.
I'm sure.
Simplistically, this is what data is helping us to achieve.
Yeah. Got it. Shilpa?
Yeah, we have this audience question from Murli HN. What do PSPs need to do to make banking services more user-friendly? Is it that PSPs are more restricted in terms of data storage, as we have separate passwords for profiles and transactions?
That's also for Ashwin, I guess. Huh?
Ashwin, yeah.
Sorry, I missed that word. PSP, you are saying?
Shilpa, you're muted.
PSPs, public sector banks.
Oh.
Okay. So, I mean, if I look at a few public sector banks, they're really doing very well in the digital space. To name a few, one that I find very active nowadays is Bank of Baroda. They are doing things. They are working with fintechs. They are running hackathons to see what are the things that can help them make the customer journey more simple and quick in terms of transaction processing. It's about adaptation of technology. It's about adaptation of right technologies. So where you need to consolidate, you need to consolidate. Where you need to keep it separate, you need to keep it separate. And let the customer decide which part of the technology they are enjoying the most and using it effectively for their banking needs. That's how it would be. Size of PSB, taking into account the number of customers that are actually to use the technologies that are deployed also makes a huge difference. So if I look at an SBI, probably the urban cloud and the tier 2 city cloud is something which will be effectively using the digital technologies that have been put in. But then there will be senior citizens and they hold a huge amount of senior citizen account also. How relatable are to the technologies that are being, how are they to the technologies being deployed? So it really depends on a business case. And for the PSBs, they would identify section and follow a business case to see whether it's making the benefit for them or not.
Kamal, now with the banks, I'm sure are big customers of yours, no?
Yes, of course. And I think specifically to our country, the public sector banks are doing utmost, and like Ashwin was saying, in terms of keeping pace and sometimes actually doing trend-setting things, doing a whole lot of new things. And that's what I think Ashwin was talking about earlier as well, that the banking industry in India, and while we kind of, if you see the number of or the size of the population being covered by public sector banks versus corporate banks or private sector banks, I think the vast majority is with public sector banks, and they have set the pace in terms of the whole adoption, the service model, right? And adoption of technology to actually deliver those services across. From a regulation perspective also, a lot has been held in terms of reducing the time of interaction between various banks from a customer service perspective, right? So, there were days when we talked about check truncation as the greatest thing, and now you talk about an IMPS, which is an instant transfer of money across two private individuals. So we're seeing that we ran a huge benchmark, for example, for one of the largest, biggest banks in the country, in terms a few years back, for an account base which was 3x of what their account base was. And those numbers are, our numbers, our India numbers are gigantic, right, by any standards. And they were unheard of numbers, but they were preparing themselves to have an infrastructure which could be responding across to transactions in a very, very speediest fashion, as the unbanked population also gets covered, right? And that's the initiative that's been working. From a security perspective, they're very, very particular, right? So whatever we do with them has to go through not just the security from an IT perspective, which the technology team goes through, but they have separate organizations, CISOs, they have consultants who kind of apply additional very, very neutral filters on what we are suggesting and how they're evaluating the technology that they put in. So we're very happy and we're very proud that most of the large public sector banks are with HPE across the infrastructure, whether it's compute or storage or the ADM, core infrastructure around the switching and so on and so forth. And I think we kind of comparable in terms of the services that we offer to any of the banks. Obviously, the thing that I think Ashwin was also alluding to, the process of decision making it requires a whole lot of filters and processes there, and that takes they spend a lot of time in doing their due diligence, and that could be called whatever, but I think that's important for the size of the banks that they are.
Okay. And that simplicity that you were talking about of managing this whole infrastructure, I mean, now where have we reached? How simple is it actually?
Oh, it's amazingly simple. And when you kind of actually, I'd be happy to run a demo or a walkthrough for anybody on this chat or otherwise, any customer who's kind of interested to see how simple actually it is. Because, till now, the whole data management thing was tied to the storage management. And as the diversity of app workloads increase, as the hybrid environments increase, it needs to shift. It needs to shift from managing storage to managing data, where you need to mobilize, protect, provision data seamlessly across the life cycle of data, as well as the locations that it is stored in. And hence, we talk about the Data Services Cloud Console, which is a manifestation of our unified data ops vision, which is a cloud console that delivers the cloud operational agility and unified data operations as a service to our customers. You, of course, have HPE Electra, which is the cloud native on-prem data infrastructure. And now you ask me, what does this cloud operation for data infrastructure mean for a customer, right? So, and the simplicity around it. So the first one is simplified deployment. So you kind of imagine a simplified, streamlined device deployment process that can be completed in a minute. So you wheel in a new storage and you plug it in, it is automatically discovered as a new system. It is onboarded as per the policies and the framework set up by the organization. The customers needs to cable it up, turn it on, and just do a few configuration steps. And within minutes, the system is available as part of the customer fleet, right, to do. The other, I talked about intent-based provisioning. So completely automate, optimize the app deployment, and kind of eliminates the whole guesswork, the spreadsheets that we're so used to doing. And the workloads are always deployed on the right resource across if you have a global fleet or a local fleet or fleet across the country of storage infrastructure. So the intent-based provisioning will transform that and will actually, using this AI-driven approach, and the real-time context of your resource headroom, your application-specific SLAs will optimize where the data is stored. Now, you can combine it with the role-based access control that we have and kind of enable self-service provisioning as well, without the need for any storage expertise, right? And help your developers deploy applications faster, shorten the data infrastructure provisioning time cycle from days to minutes, and accelerating the whole development cycle, making the thing fully effortless. Another facet, and I will just cover two more quickly, is manage from anywhere. So this data services cloud console sits up on a cloud layer, and it provides 100% cloud managed infrastructure, which means I can be sitting anywhere, but I can control my global infrastructure, monitor the storage from anywhere and on any device, as long as I have the secure right credentials. To do that, this cloud native control plane scales autonomously with the infrastructure. So whether you're managing hundreds of storage systems or you're managing just one, it is as simple as that, right? And especially this whole pandemic thing taught us that, you can be kind of in a lockdown at any point of time with the shortest amount of notice, and the whole work from home environments and stuff like that. So just because your data center is nearby doesn't mean that you will always have the ability to reach there. So you can actually manage things from anywhere, wherever you are. And the fourth is very quickly automate at scale. So this whole cloud native control plane, or the data services cloud console that I'm talking about, is highly extensible. It's programmable. You have unified API across this whole thing. So you can use the APIs to plug into your higher plane, or plug into a GreenLake console, or otherwise whatever framework that you're using. And the single API endpoint for the entire infrastructure allows the organization to automate a whole lot of self-service operations. They happen at cloud speed. They happen at a scale. You don't need to be worried about API versions, feature compatibility, scripting, and all that kind of stuff that, takes away a whole lot of operational time from our IT brain power in the organization. Thus helping you reduce the cost while optimizing resource utilization. And you can move to a more generalist model, right? And you can shift from managing storage, whatever, time and resource energy you're putting that, to actually managing data, like Ashwin was talking about, and just refocus those resource and skills to a higher value strategic initiatives that you might have.
So fascinating technologies emerging to harness data, analyze it, provide insights, and do it at massive scale. Great. I know we are 4 minutes past our scheduled time. Final comments, changing the game with data. Navdeep, Navid, any final comments from you?
Yeah. Okay. So I would like to speak about one very interesting trend that sort of we see emerging. I'll keep it very, very quick. In-house data clubbed with external data, fantastic stuff, fantastic real life applications, lots of case studies they can talk about. CRM getting clubbed with external information, throwing up opportunities, whole lot of stuff. Web scraping of pricing and product information from the web clubbed with internal historical, and pricing information. Great insights. So I think this is something that I am personally very passionate about. Just wanted to leave the forum with this thought: integration, in-house, external stuff, external data.
Okay.
Huge potential.
Integration.
I agree to that point, but the important point, which is I want to mention here, is we have a lot of data and we talk about a lot of data, but the actual thing lies in using that data effectively. Because I've seen it many a times that data is there, you have certain findings, but actual implementation on ground is not happening to those levels it should have been. I think that's one very important point we all need to focus on.
Okay. Implement, some lag there. So thank you so much, all of you, Kamal, Ashwin, Navdeep, Naved, really delightful discussion, amazing things that we are able to do today, what we were not even able to do just a few years ago. So thanks again. Hope to have you again sometime on this platform.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Sujit, thanks Shilpa.
Bye.
Thanks everyone on the panel.